We are going to do a axle seal today on this truck. This truck is kind of like mine. For those of you that watch me on that old Freightliner I got, and it's a little bit different on the newer ones. But down here we got oil coming out of the axle seal, and if you see these stripes on the sidewalls of the tire, that's a sign that something like that's happening, because if it was water that would just dry up, but with oil it stays like that. And you got the wet oil down in here. Of course, it's bobtail. You have to be under the truck to see this when the trailer's on. And then come back here and look at this side that's not like that, and you don't see none of that on this tire. And the brakes down in here are all dry. Everything in there's dry, so that's normal. Got all this wet in here. So, of course, first thing we got to do is chock a couple of tires and then jack this wheel up. We're going to jack it up high enough that we don't have to, or before we take the hub off, we'll jack it up high enough to keep the oil from running out. The oil will stay over to the other side, because otherwise oil's going to run out. Some will still run out, but we don't want a lot running out. Got my tires chocked on each side. It ain't much, but it's not much of a hill. Just a brick in front of each front tire. It's not really a hill at all. The truck will sit there, but I'm going to use this air over hydraulic jack that I like to use. And of course, when you set this, you got to make sure you got room to get your tool in there to release that before you pump it up, or you might have trouble getting the jack back down. This is Kevin, a guy that works with me on my job, and this is his truck, and he is supposed to be doing this job with my tools and me just pointing my finger now and then. Let's see how much I get away with that without me having to actually get in there and do it. Go ahead, Kevin. This set of tires and wheels we got here has two sets of lug nuts on it, the outer ones, and so you just take one tire off, and then we gotta go back and take these studs off. These are another set of nuts. They're kind of combination nut and stud. We gotta take them off to get the inner wheel off. So maybe we can jack it up a little higher so you got more room to get that thing under there a little bit more level. Got a lug nut under the tire here. Okay, let's see if that's enough room. There you go. This tire jolly or tire dolly compliments of Justin Sturgill. Has a YouTube channel in Cincinnati area, and he's got a trucking business over there, dump trucks, and he sent me that and a few other tools as well. Thanks a lot, Justin. This is one of those square on both sides. One side slightly bigger than the other, so you got to make sure you put it on there right. Go ahead, let's see if that'll come up. We're trying to do all this with a 3/4 drive. Which way are you going? We couldn't get those off with the 3/4. They're on there too tight, so we had to grab the 1-inch drive. So go ahead, Kevin. Don't hold it by this, hold it by, and just try to keep it level. Try to Okay, next step, we gotta back off the brake shoes, get the drum off of here. Okay, we are under here, underneath the truck, at the slack adjuster, and this is what we gotta do. We gotta lift this button out right here. That's like a ratchet. We gotta lift that out, and then directly across the top from here is where the adjusting screw is that we have to put. We got the right tools for it. I usually, on my older videos before I bought this stuff, I would use wrenches, but I got a little ratchet tool here. It's because this is square, that nut on top, that bolt on top of there, and this is an 8-sided socket on this ratchet that will fit that square nut. And before we can back that off, we have to lift this little ratchet out, and that's what this little fork is for. When you don't have this, you can just use a screwdriver to lift that out, but you just lift this thing. It's spring loaded. You lift that out, and then that releases the ratchet, so you can turn that self-adjusting bolt that's on top there with the square bolt head on it. So we got to lift this out, and then we got to back this thing off. And usually what happens is you don't know which way to back it off, so you just turn it one way and see if the brake tightens up or not. Anyway, we're going to back that off a few turns so we can get the brake drum off.
You got it?
Yeah, it's going. Okay, I'm doing the ratcheting. Kevin is lifting the thing there. And while we're doing this, we can see the gap between the brake shoes and the drum that's opening up there. Quite a gap now. We got more than enough room. There, see the gap there between the brake shoe here and the drum. Here's the shoe, here's the drum. Yeah. Alright, now Kevin's going to lift the drum. That's 80-pound drum. But what are you bench pressing now, Kevin? He's a bodybuilder.
315.
315?
For warm up.
Oh, for warm up.
Yeah.
What are you maxing now?
550.
You maxed 550 on the bench?
Yes.
Wow. What's your measurement on your upper arm?
23 and a half.
We got to clean this drum out. It's full of oil. We'll clean that out with brake cleaner. We'll probably just use diesel to get the heavy stuff off of it, or gasoline or something, and then brake cleaner to dry it. And we got to, if you take this to a regular shop, they are not allowed to put your old shoes back on. These shoes can be cleaned and put back on, and we'll find out how much meat is left on the shoes before we decide to do that. And for those trolls that like to have a problem and bad comments over that, that's just your problem. We'll change the shoes if we need to. We'll get the worst of the junk off of it and find out how much meat we got left, because it doesn't hurt to put them back on if you get them cleaned up enough. I think we're going to go ahead and change these shoes, but I'm going to just clean one end of it just to show that it can be done and how to do it and what we're looking for. right here, this ridge, and I had people ask me about this ridge. They thought there was 2 layers of brake shoe padding there. It's not. There's an offset in that, and the reason why, this is the metal part of the shoe right here where my fingernail is, and then just above that is where the shoe is attached, is where the brake padding is attached to the shoe. Well, this offset right here gives you a 1/4 inch to let you know when you're down to the limit that you're allowed to run on, which is a 1/4 inch. And so we still have plenty of meat left on the shoe with the rivets there. You can see they're deep, and the shoe wears more up here than it does on the ends anyway. But anyway, this could go back on, and if it was my truck it would go back on, but we're going to clean this a little bit. I cleaned it with air. I cleaned it with a screwdriver and a scraper, cleaned out these holes. Now I'm going to use brake cleaner, and we'll scrub that off, and you'll see the difference. I have to work that in and scrub it in, but I can't hold the camera while I'm doing it. Okay, what I'm going to do is, when you if you have to reuse your brake shoes, you just use brake cleaner and keep spraying it on there, and you just keep scrubbing that with a rag until the rag is coming off clean. And that's going to take a while. The brake cleaner is going to soak into the oil, and it's going to lift it where you can wipe it off of there. You'll never get it off 100%, but you'll get it off enough that you can finish using your brake shoes. Scrub it hard, and then keep turning the rag over and seeing how much dirt you're getting. Yeah, we're still getting dirt, so let's keep going. We're just going to do this part right here. Find another clean spot on the rag. Well, let's just keep doing that till we get to a clean spot. Till the rag comes off clean. You can do the spray. I'll call this guy back. He just called me. Well, this is about as far as I would go if it was mine. We're still getting fingerprints on the rag when I scrub it, but not as much. You got a clean spot. Stay in the same spot. Use it for an example. See, we're not getting near as much as we were, so it's staying. That's clean enough for me, and we'd have to do that all the way around, but we are going to go ahead and change the brake shoes. I just wanted to show that it is possible to clean the shoes and finish running them out, and then you can change them when you want to. Hold on a second. You remember how to do it?
Pop the springs on.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take the brake shoes off right now, and these small springs right here in the back where you got 2 of them, one on each side, where you're going to just stick a screwdriver, and behind that got to hammer it in with the heel of your hand or a hammer and pop them off. We'll let Kevin do that. We did it on his trailer not long ago. Okay, now just lift that shoe up and swing it right over the top. There you go. And all we gotta do is take that to the parts store and get a set of shoes, and then we're gonna go and buy an axle seal. When we come back, we'll pull this hub off. We are cleaning off this S-cam, and I'm going to do that first because it's got a lot of grease on it that might not be axle grease. It might be regular chassis grease. Can you lift up on that, raise up that cam up and down a few times? Let's see how much. We do have some play in there. We do have some play in there. This would be the time to change that if you wanted to do it. But it's a job. It's a nasty job.
No, we don't have to change it.
Okay. Just when you put grease in there, just don't overdo it because too much will come out into the brake shoes. Yeah, if it, it's at the place where, maybe it might be a good idea to change it, but it's still safe. You can still drive it like that. We are back with all the parts. Kevin is cleaning the gunk off of this. We're going to take the hub off in a few minutes.
Don't you got to raise that up some more?
Yeah, we got this basically cleaned up. Going to raise this up as high as it'll go with this jack. And then we're going to take this axle off. Alright, we got this jacked up high. Kevin, go ahead and don't take these off. Just loosen them all up and leave the nuts on there. That's good. Just do each one like that. See here, one of these can't see, that one came loose. Oh, these got flat wash. Supposed to have a cone-shaped washer. That's weird.
Yeah, they got flat washers on it.
It might have cone-shaped washers in there too. I don't know if it does or not. Go on ahead and just smack that.
Look, it's already loose.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of these have a cone-shaped washer, and when they do, this doesn't want to come off unless you hit this thing. You just smack it right on the not on the inside so much, but right on the top. Just pop that with a 3-pound hammer, and that'll knock them cones off. That's why I put these on here. So you can take them all off now. But look, the oil's already starting to come out, some of it. And we got the drum sitting upside down. We're gonna let's get the drum closer over there so we don't make a mess over here. We're gonna pull the axle out, stand it up against the side of the truck, and then we're gonna put the hub in the drum there.
You ready?
Yeah, go ahead. And just stand it up right in there, facing, no, not the other way. Yeah, there you go. Just lean that in there like so. There you go. And of course, you want to make sure that the top of this is not underneath that stud right there in case the truck starts sliding down a little bit on the jack. We don't want it to sit on that. Okay, I gotta find out. Hello. Gotta get this off. We gotta take a screwdriver and then knock these tabs down. There's what, 4 of them sticking out. We gotta knock those down and then take that nut off. Knock it down so we can all the way flat, so that we can turn that nut off of there.
Where you sitting them now? I thought you should have gone.
I gotta get that nut off of there.
I thought you needed something.
Hang on. I set the camera up. I'm gonna get it on camera. I'll bring that to the store with me and get another socket to fit that. But right now we're going to take this flat washer out and make sure it's in good shape, because if I got to go back to the dealer, it's about 15 miles away, 18 miles away, and make sure I don't need another part. So you see all these pieces coming off. This has a keyway in it, lines up with the key that's on the side of the axle housing, and these holes in it line up with a nut that's a knob that's on this nut. Because this first nut does not get tightened down real tight. It gets seated, you tighten it down once to seat it, and then you back it off approximately a quarter turn. And then when you put this back on, this lines up with the keyway, and then one of these holes is going to line up on this. This is a quarter turn backed off, and then one of these lines up on that. And if it's not lining up with your keyway the way you want it, the keyway is not centered between two holes. So you can flip this over and try it on this side, see if it lines up better for you. So that's why this keyway is not centered between two holes. You can use one side or the other, whichever side looks better to you. And now this is ready to pull off. But we're not going to do that yet because, well, we get to be. Alright, now we're going to pull this bearing out. Just wiggle this thing a few times, the bearing will come loose. And reach in there and pull it out, or try to. We'll inspect the bearing before we put it back in. It does look good though, because it'll have chewed up areas on these rollers and it doesn't have any. And then when you push the middle of it, push it in and turn it, and it feels nice and smooth. So the bearing is in good shape. If the bearing's good, the race is good. So we don't have to worry about the race. Now, I got to put this pan underneath the drum. And I got to pull this off of there. Try to. You getting all this?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to set this down in there like that. And let that just continue to drip off of there. Well, I got to run up to the parts store with that nut and get a socket to fit it.